Welcome to the 69 News Netcast. I'm Eve Russo. If you weren't watching 69 News at noon, here's a bit of what you missed. Pennsylvania is looking down the barrel at some major financial freezes if the state Senate doesn't find a way to fill a gap in the state budget. The state bank account is about to hit zero, and Governor Tom Wolf has said schools, roads, and emergency response could be affected. WFMZ's Jim Vassell has more.
Right now, it's all about the money in Harrisburg. Lawmakers feisty to fill a $2.2 billion gap in the state budget. Looming is the possibility that Governor Tom Wolf decides to freeze spending in emergency response systems, volunteer fire companies, transportation, and schools. Wolf could announce today if any of those departments could get hurt. The action could prevent the state's bank account from reading zero. Wolf approved the $32 billion state budget 2 months ago, which ruffled some feathers in the state legislature. While some lawmakers think it's good to at least have a revenue target, some House Republicans say the governor is simply putting off figuring out how to pay for it. 2 months after the approval, the stalemate continues.
That was Jim Vassell reporting. Well, the owner of a Northampton County daycare will not serve jail time for the death of a 3-month-old in her care. Sharon Ballack was just sentenced to 7 years probation and is required to pay a $5,000 fine. 3-month-old McKenna Rose Felmley was found unresponsive at Sharon's daycare in Lehigh Township last year and later died. Investigators found that McKenna was placed on her stomach to sleep unsupervised in an unlicensed daycare space. Ballack pleaded guilty to reckless endangerment and endangering the welfare of a child and lost her daycare license. A former priest in the Allentown diocese learned his fate in a child pornography case. John Raz was sentenced to a maximum of 23 months behind bars yesterday. He was arrested last year when investigators found numerous files of child pornography on his laptop computers. Raz is the former pastor of St. Anne's Church in Emmaus, and he used to teach at the former Reading Central Catholic High School. Pennsylvania's Auditor General has released his findings now after a year-long review of the county caseworkers who investigate child abuse. In a new report titled State of the Child, Auditor General Eugene DePasquale says the state's child welfare system is broken. He specifically focused on the Children and Youth Services case workers at the county levels. He says they don't receive the proper training and are overwhelmed with heavy caseloads, and that ultimately endangers children.
Caseworkers who make the initial contact with families, known as intake caseworkers, went from having generally manageable caseloads of about 20 to juggling sometimes more than 75 cases at a time.
The Auditor General says the expansion of mandated reporters in 2015 after the Jerry Sandusky scandal and the opioid epidemic led to a spike in cases, and now he's calling for changes, including revamping training and reducing paperwork. And for more local news, watch 69 News or get updates right here at WFMZ.com with the 69 News Netcast. I'm Eve Russo.